I want to introduce you, Joe Bolwig. This is one of our greatest coaches, and Tom Ferry. And I know Joe from the last summit and quite for some time. He's excellent with mindset and time management. This is why I want to invite him to talk to us on this topic: how to align the mindset and time management, and how to achieve significant results with it. Take it over, Joe.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've got a little bit of a slideshow, so give me 1 second. All right. All right. So what I want to cover today is I'm going to cover time management and then tie in some mindset to it. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. For some, I mean, that may be good, some that may be bad, but everybody starts in different places and finishes in different places. So I'm going to start with some time management, go over some ways to look at it, and then again, time mindset to it. So time management, as you see by the slide, it's not called time mastery for a reason. So the thing that we always want to keep in mind is that it's about mastering, and it's not about mastering, it's about managing. You always want to try to manage your time, manage the distractions, manage the time blocks that you have. I know that as soon as any coach starts talking about time blocking, there's a little discomfort. There's a little bit of a challenge. That's natural in what we do, because time management, following your schedule, is creating a habit. And for a lot of agents, it's breaking another habit before they can start following it. Okay, so we're going to jump into that. Who am I real quick? Coach and speaker since 2010, 17 years in real estate. I'm the prospecting bootcamp coach. I run that program, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran. That'll give you a little tie into why time management is so important to me, and positive mindset with the veteran portion of it. Okay. So some time management tips, and we're going to go over, and then I'll expand on some of these. These are more like bullet points, and then I'll expand on it. So your schedule needs to be created for you, not what's best for someone else. Okay. Yes, you're going to talk to a lot of people. You're going to ask your coach. You're going to ask top producing agents, what's your schedule, and those things. Just always keep in mind that you're not doing that to try to follow their schedule. You're just looking for suggestions on how to build your schedule. Okay. That's got to be based off of your production goals. That's got to be based off of everything else that's happening in and around your life. Okay. There's a lot of stuff with your schedule that's going to be different than other people's. Everybody's a unique individual. So your schedule has to be created for you as that unique agent. Okay. Be honest in its creation. Focus on the days that you're going to work. So how many, with a show of hands, how many of you follow a schedule to some extent? Notice how I said some extent. Does anybody not follow a schedule at all? Be honest. This is a judgment-free zone here. Okay, but we're following a schedule at least to some extent. Not at all. Okay.
I'm sometimes a last-minute person. I do things most of the time on the last minute. It's embarrassing, okay. But
well, so the first thing I would recommend is focus on the days that you're going to work. Okay, one of the basics, one of the things that helped me tremendously was, number one, I got one of those big 3x5 dry erase calendars. Okay, and I put that up in the beginning of the year. I don't take dry erase, I take Sharpie, and I literally put in the events I'm going to be at, my vacations that we're planning on going on. Any of the non-negotiables are going to go in on Sharpie on my big annual calendar. Because number one, that's going to be stuff that I'm going to focus on. So for example, Summit went into my calendar the moment that the dates were announced. The minute that I know, it goes in there automatically. It's a non-negotiable. Elite retreat next year in February in Orlando, non-negotiable, goes into my schedule. Okay. Dominican Republic, going to DR with my wife and those things, non-negotiable, goes in my schedule. Okay, goes in my calendar. Then what I do is I literally take a red Sharpie and I box the rest of the days that I'm going to work. Not if I'm off Saturday and Sunday, those aren't going to get boxed in. I box in those days that I'm going to work. So now I actually can count on the calendar how many days out of the year I'm truly going to work. I can start to calculate my numbers as far as what I need to do in relation to my goal. Okay, I take it to a little bit of an extreme as well. I go on to Google, I print out those printable calendars for each month, and I have it. Hold on. I could show you that I practice what I preach. I literally write down the days I'm going to work, the days I'm away, everything for every month, because I know if it's a work day or it's a down day. Okay, I treat my time off just as important as my time off. So focus on those days you're going to work, because that'll give you, who has a numbers goal? Who knows by the end of the year, I want to close this many transactions? Okay, or make this amount of money. Anybody? Okay, if you're not looking at those days, I mean, let's be real. If I want to close, and I'm using random numbers, if I want to close 50 transactions and I look and I'm working 110 days out of the year that I have down, am I really going to close 50 transactions? I better be, white hot with my skills to be able to do that. Everything else better line up perfect, because you have to be realistic in that time. Okay, so focus on those days you're going to work. The next one, your schedule is a working document. As your business changes, so will your schedule. I can't tell you, in all of the time coaching and being a broker owner with my own agents and everything else, too many agents get so locked in that that's my schedule. This is my daily schedule for the year. And they don't take into consideration that, I mean, how many have seen the market change on maybe even a weekly basis in their market, or a monthly basis, where all of a sudden it was doing this, in February, and March was like totally different? Well, that's your schedule. Your schedule is going to have to be a working document. It's going to move, it's going to morph, it's going to, it's going to change. That's okay. Okay. Not change for, hey, I'm taking time blocks out because, I'm just not going to do anything else, but moving time blocks around. Okay. We're going to talk quite a bit on that. You're going to hear me go back to that from time to time. It's always okay. The rule that I have is, especially in the beginning of following a time block schedule, it's always okay to move the blocks around in that day. It's never okay for one of those blocks to drop out of the day. And that's what we have happen. Okay. I always love this question. Who prospects? Anybody cold call on the call? Okay. Does anybody have in their schedule to cold call, or want to cold call, or need to cold call, and then you just don't get to it? Yeah, that's because, number one, let's be real. We do the things we like, right? We do the things we enjoy. Okay. As much as I like prospecting, and again, I say this at every prospecting boot camp, I don't know if I truly like it, or I've brainwashed myself to just know, my brain believes I like it because I've said it enough. But if we don't like it, it's going to have the lowest value. And if you're going to drop any time block out of your schedule, what's it going to be? It's going to be the thing you don't like, right? So that's always the biggest challenge. That's why you want to create that rule that I can move those around, but I can't drop anything out. Okay, good. So the one thing I will say, is also, you want to create your schedule so you can follow it and be more focused to it, because you want to have your time off guilt-free. All right. If you're an agent right now that feels guilty, crappy, whatever term you put, when you're, I should be working, I shouldn't be doing this, I wish I could have done more during the week. Well, your schedule has to reflect that. So when you have your time off, you're literally not thinking about work, you're detaching, you're doing whatever you're doing in that time that was guilt-free. Okay. The next one, start your process with the perfect schedule. Create that by adding in your non-negotiables and then working from there. Okay. Who kind of knows what I mean about non-negotiables? Because I'm going to talk about it for a minute. All right. Does anybody have kids that need to get on the bus or off the bus? Does anybody have something they have to do in their personal life? Do they have doctor's appointments, stuff like that? understand that that's a non-negotiable. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've had coaching clients beating themselves up because they've got this spot in their afternoon that they've got to get away from work, because they have to put the kids or get the kids off the bus or go wait in that bus loop to pick up their kids or whatever it is. Well, that's a non-negotiable. Remember what Tom says. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. Well, if it's in your schedule, then it exists. So put that in your schedule and start with that, because that's just something that has to be there. Okay. As you're doing that, look at also if there's anything in your schedule. So I'll just give you an example. I had a coaching client years ago that she had a dead spot in her schedule. It was around 2:30 in the afternoon. And I said, what are you doing at 2:30 in the afternoon every day? We'll talk about this, but we did a time loss assessment. And it was at the time where she went into Facebook, into her social media, and posted something. Well, those that have gone down this rabbit hole know that there's a rabbit hole in social media. So what she was doing, she was going in, posting, and then getting trapped in that rabbit hole. She was looking at somebody else's post. She was moving around. Next thing you know, 45 minutes later, she was drooling, not knowing where she was or anything else in there. So I said to her, do we want to change it, or do we want to add that to your schedule? And she added it to her schedule. She called it her social media screw off time. And I said, hey, if it's in your schedule, then it exists, then use it. Well, she did that for about 3 weeks and then realized, I don't want to do this anymore. But she was very aware of it. So the moral of that, the point of that is be very aware of what you're doing in that schedule. And if you need to add it on paper or into whatever you're following, do that. Okay, so then you at least know what you're doing. Okay. Once created, focus on the daily discipline necessary to start that process of managing your time via your schedule. And we're going to lightly talk on some daily discipline. It'll tie more into mindset and those things. If you guys have questions as we go, please just throw up a hand. I'm going to open up some. Yeah, church time, non-negotiable. That's fine. Anything, whatever you have. I mean, I've coached a lot of clients that had prayer time at certain times of the day or whatever. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's your non-negotiable. Okay. All right, good. Time management questions. And these are questions that I am a big proponent on self-evaluation. And when I say that, in everything that we do, I've done it, I recommend it like on a daily basis. Okay, looking at things. For example, one of the things that I would ask questions to myself is I would come in every morning, look at my active boards for listings and my listings and say, what needs to happen for this to sell? Okay, and then literally answer that and do those things. Okay, same thing with time management. How strong are my goals? Do they make me jump out of bed every morning? That's something that, it's our goals are what tend to motivate us. Okay, your why. We talk about your why all the time. That's usually your goal. That's your motivation. All right, look for whatever motivates you. And how many, I want to ask this, how many are snooze button people on the call? Anybody hit the snooze in the morning? Okay, thank you, Lana, I appreciate that. Okay, but that's discipline. Now, here's the thing. If that's structured, if that's by design, okay, so I'll give you an example. I set my alarm for one time and then set it for 5 minutes after. I can honestly say that the habit and the discipline I've created, I never get to the second alarm because I jump out of bed every morning. Drives my wife insane, but I jump out of bed excited to start my day every morning. It's my sleeping is done. I'm done. Okay, and it's because my goals are so strong or so high or so connected that my why is always in front of me. Try to work. Now, I didn't start like that. I was, before I went in the Marine Corps, I was the kid that would sleep till 11, 12 o'clock. I played college football. I had the bus actually come to my apartment because I missed my alarm. And they're like, we're leaving for the game. You want to get on? Oh, crap. So before I got into the military, yeah, that was much different. But then I created that habit, or should I say they created that habit for me. Okay, that's external accountability. but make those goals so strong that you jump out of bed. Okay. What would my perfect schedule look like? That's something I would say, if you're not following a schedule, start with that. Put that down. Ask yourself, what does that look like? Is it the one I have in place now? I do this weekly. Okay. Yes, I have coaching clients. I'm a broker owner. I run a company. Okay. I have other things that I do with training and those things. I'm always looking and asking myself, do I have my perfect schedule in place right now? And if I need to move it, I move it. That's just what happens. Okay. What is my mindset in regard to my schedule? Am I telling myself positive or negative affirmations? Oh, I spelled that wrong. Affirmations about it. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit on mindset right now. You guys all know that we're always doing affirmations. You're always doing affirmations, right? Do you know that? Everything you tell yourself, this is going to be tough. This is going to be hard. I don't like cold calling. I don't have to do that right now. Those are all negative affirmations. And remember, your mind is strong. Those are powerful. Okay. I'll give you my thing that I did for years. Okay. I'm in the Northeast. I'm in Connecticut. All right. Yes, we get snow, we get crummy weather. We get all of that, and we don't have the benefit. I think, Roman, you're in Florida, right? Yeah, we generally don't get that benefit of having that sunny summer weather for too long. Okay. So the affirmation that I always used to hear when I used to walk into the office, the brokerage that I was at, was I always had one person that was complaining about the weather. Oh, it's rainy, it's cloudy, it's snowing out. And my response, my positive affirmation was always, hey, it doesn't have to be sunny to make money. And that would get me away from that, because I had to go into there to get my copies, my mail, and everything else, and then go back to my office. But I would always encounter that. So I would always fight against that. Okay. Look at what your mindset is in regard to your schedule. How much are you fighting it? Because sometimes we fight it without even knowing it. And I'm going to touch on this again in another slide, but it's schedule is there to resolve overwhelm, not create it. Too many times we think, oh my God, I'm going to get so overwhelmed if I've got to follow the schedule. No, it's the exact opposite. Once you create the habit, it should resolve the overwhelm. Okay. Is my accountability strong enough to keep me on schedule? Am I taking my accountability serious? I touched on accountability. Listen, I'll be straightforward with this. I had probably the strongest external accountability ever when it came to time management, and that was drill instructors at Paris Island. Okay, that was a high level of external accountability. So they created that internal accountability because, yeah, I didn't want to, I'm going to do it on my own instead of getting yelled at or whatever, by somebody else. I'm not saying to do that when it comes to your accountability right now in real estate, but transition that and look at it the same way. What's my level of external accountability? What's my level that I need of external accountability? I'll be real. In the beginning of my real estate career, I was a slimy, slippery snake. If I could be golfing or going out to lunch with an attorney or doing something else instead of making calls and following my schedule and doing what I had to do, yeah, see ya. So, I had to literally put a high level, and that was even after the Marine Corps. So I had to put a high level of external accountability in place, because like I tell everybody, this isn't your average industry. Real estate is a whole different beast. I don't care if you came in like myself with, strong internal accountability towards schedule and then started in real estate, you're going to have a challenge usually. I don't care if people came in and said, hey, I was a telemarketer for 20 years. I'm not afraid to make cold calls. Yeah, show me, prove it. And there's usually a challenge, even though they had that experience. So you've got to look at it realistically and ask yourself, what is my level of accountability that I need? Okay. And am I going to take it seriously? That's the biggest thing. You've got to take it seriously. You can't look at it and do those negative affirmations and that negative belief where, hey, this person's 3,000 miles away from me. well, I don't have to do that. I'll just not show up for the call. I'll not be there for the check-in, whatever. Set those levels of accountability. Okay. I'll give you a little hint. The biggest level of accountability that I ever received was from my wife, when I gave her permission to kick my butt. Look at those things. I've had coaching clients that their highest level of accountability was their kids. And I've always said, listen, promise them something. Promise them Disneyland, Disney World, a trip or something if you do this, and force yourself to hit your goals and do that, because you will have that child or those children literally holding you accountable and making sure, you're supposed to be doing that. Get on that. Look at whatever that is, your broker, your team leader, whoever, okay, your coach, tell your coach, kick my butt, make me do this. That whole Calgon take me away commercial or whatever it was, or that Nestle iced tea plunge into the pool, showing my age now, but whatever, just, hey, coach, do it. Make me do this every day. Okay, give permission for that. What are my distractions, or what are the distractions that take me off my schedule? Am I allowing these distractions? Am I creating these distractions? Wow, another typo. Ask yourself that honestly. Some of the distractions we create. Okay, I use something that I call creative call avoidance when I'm training on prospecting. Creative call avoidance is those things that we use as excuses to get away from the calls. I would say there's creative avoidance in our schedule. If you see a time block and you start to cringe at it, or if all of a sudden mysteriously that time block from 1 to 2 is coming up and all of a sudden something comes up, well, there's a good chance we created that. Same thing with distractions. Remember, the biggest thing I'll say about that when I ask, am I allowing these distractions? Distractions you allow. Everybody knows that, right? You let those things in. You have a choice. Ask yourself, am I allowing these in, or am I creating that barrier? Create a wall, create a box and put yourself in it. And for an example, my prospecting time, when I was prospecting heavily, was untouchable. My email was down, no incoming calls. I was on a dialer, and this is no joke. I was on a dialer. I was about to go onto my prospecting session. My assistant would be behind me. Mary would stand up. She would come over. She would take my phone. It would connect to my dialer. She would take my phone, open my drawer, put my phone in, my cell phone, close it, lock it, go to her outside the door desk, and then she was the guard. And then nothing came in. I didn't even know if inbound calls were coming. I didn't know anything. I was just in my session. I'm using that as an example, but look at whatever it is. When I do training and I write content for Tom, I literally put myself in a box. I focus. I put everything else aside. Nobody comes in, nobody touches me, this is it. This is what I'm doing. Start to look at doing that. It will, if you have not done that before, the focus that you get from that is so intense sometimes that it's amazing. It's amazing at how much you can focus and how things become so clear. Okay. But again, remember, it's not time mastery, it's time management. You're just looking to manage that. I tell everybody that I talk to on time management, you're not going to eliminate those distractions. You're putting a box up, but they're still there. You just don't know about them. You're going to address them at some point. You're not going to get rid of them. Okay. I always ask, is your family part of the distraction? I hate to say it that way. And then they always say, yeah, my family gets, they distract me and everything else. I said, well, you've got to eliminate them. And it's always a weird kind of conversation, because not eliminate, like not get rid of them, but we've got to kind of manage that. You've got to create that understanding. Listen, this is in my schedule. Husband, wife, significant other, here's my schedule for the week. You'll see the empty spots where if you need anything, let's put them in the schedule. Be very scheduled. I'm talking fast, trying to pack a lot into about 30, 35 minutes. Okay. Daily discipline to your schedule. Create the chain. The chain is the tie between what you do daily and your why. When we break that chain, we tend to stop having that discipline by using creative avoidance. The biggest thing that I've seen always is breaking that chain, forgetting what our why is. And listen, again, I'll be honest, been there, done that. Okay. It's not focusing on that. You know, now I've got focus to everything. I've got my goals, I've got pictures, I've got everything that my why is always there. My focus is always there. And there's that chain to what I need to do daily. What do I need to do today? And 9 times out of 10, it's like whatever's in my schedule. You know, and that's, developing my skills, my conversion, everything else. But if we don't create that chain, that's where that creative avoidance comes in. That's where all of a sudden, maybe I won't do that. Maybe can you go to lunch at 1 o'clock? Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, it's like that fat, not even looking at schedule. Okay. Create the mindset. Schedule resolves overwhelm. Mindset is huge when it comes to everything that we do. I have 3 foundations when I coach, when I train, and they are mindset first, number 1, time management, number 2, and skills, number 3. Those are the foundations. The way that I've always said is mindset is the foundation. It's like, and some of you, I know Roman will appreciate this analogy. It's like building a house on the beach. You're not just going to go up and then just start framing it with no foundation in the sand or whatever, because that thing's just going to keep falling over and doing everything. You've got to create that foundation, and you could build on it. You've created a foundation. That's what mindset is to our business, to our day, to our time management, to everything. Create that foundation and understand that, yes, mindset will go sideways sometimes. Mindset will go sideways for different reasons. Okay, look at our world right now. I mean, I'm just going to say our world is very negative if you open yourself up to that and look at everything on the outside. Now, I'm saying that only because you can control that. Just block it out. Okay, I pulled into Dunkin' Donuts 2 days ago. I have a shirt like this, but it has sharks on it. And I pulled in, and the girl was probably 21, 22. She gave my coffee and she goes, "Oh my God, I love that shirt. And how perfect with Shark Week." And I looked at her and I said, "What the hell is Shark Week? I'm in Connecticut. We don't have sharks around here. I barely even have beach." What? And she goes, "Oh, that's the thing on TV." I said, "Well, there you go. I don't watch TV. And if I do, it's like Netflix or something that I choose to watch. I'm not like scouring, watching advertisements, anything like that." So, you block, and it's by design. You block that stuff out because I don't need to hear all that. I don't need to know what's going on 17,000 miles away from me, simply because, if it gets to a point where I really need to know about it, but I can't do anything about it. So focus on those things and change that mindset. Look at blocking that stuff out. When you start to feel overwhelmed, focus on those parts of your schedule that have been challenging. Eliminate the negative mindset that schedule is overwhelming. It's not that it's overwhelming when you first start following a schedule. It's uncomfortable. Okay, it's discomfort. But remember, discomfort is growth. Your drunk monkey wants to keep you comfortable, not have you be successful. That's our ego, our drunk monkey. Okay, when you start doing something and you feel that discomfort, drunk monkey kicks in and starts saying, "No, you don't have to do that. No, go back to what you were doing. It was working fine." That's where the drunk monkey comes in. But remember, that drunk monkey wants you to be comfortable, not successful. Discomfort equals growth. That's the mindset that you want to have, and you want to try to make yourself as uncomfortable as possible. Okay. Who's going to Summit? Anybody going to Summit on the call? Okay. Is it your first Summit, or have you been there before? First? Nice. Good for you. When you go to events, do you generally sit in the same spot?
The spot might be the same, but I tend to meet a lot of people.
Okay. Here's my suggestion, talking about discomfort, because I ask that, because we all kind of do that. We sit like left rear, center towards the middle, in the front, whatever. What I always tell everybody is get out of your comfort zone, switch your spot every day, go polar opposite. Something small like that creates that discomfort, and you start getting comfortable with discomfort. You're being okay with it. All those little things will add up. Okay. Create accountability, a high level of external accountability, the level that you need to be successful. I touched on that. You know, remember, internal accountability doesn't grow until you start it with external accountability. Be uncomfortable with that, create that new habit, push that forward, and start to create that discomfort, you know, so you can be successful. And you can also start to create that internal accountability. Once you create the habit and you have that internal accountability, it's just a check-in. You know, then your coach is just checking in on you. Hey, how's that going? You know, and it's not the confrontation that may come sometimes now or whatever it is where I'm not following my schedule. It's more like, hey, great, you're doing a good job. Not something we have to really focus on. Let's see what we need to focus on. Okay. How can I do a checkup on my time management? Time loss assessment. Okay. Track your time every 30 minutes for 1 week, then evaluate and repeat. I am a huge fan of time loss assessments. Track that, take a pad, legal pad, notebook, whatever, and then just start, hey, I'm going to start my day, my business day at 8 o'clock. Just start and write 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10, all the way to when you plan on getting off. And then every 30 minutes, have that notepad next to you. Every 30 minutes, go back and honestly and realistically write down what you did. Okay, and then evaluate it. If something took you off, you know, if I did this, I was supposed to do this, I got taken off because of this, write those down. Write that stuff down. That time loss assessment will tell you where you're losing time, because let's all be real. You can make money. Anybody can make money. You can't make time. You can steal time back. And that's what you're looking to do with this. Time is the biggest commodity. Okay. Then at the end of the week, evaluate that, make any adjustments that you need to, and then repeat it and do it again and see if those adjustments help. Okay. Have an accountability partner check your schedule and check your focus to your schedule. Give them a copy and have them do random check-ins. What are you working on right now? That's, you know, that's something that's powerful. Give them your schedule. They know that you're supposed to be doing this. Hey, what are you working on right now? Get that text back in, let them check it. Okay. Jump on a Zoom with an accountability partner and have them randomly monitor your day and your actions. And what I mean by that is, if you're working in the office, if you're at your desk, if you're supposed to be prospecting, if you're supposed to be doing something, get on a Zoom with them. You know, let them check in every now and then. They may be doing their thing, but let them open up the screen, see what you're doing. Do that. Hey, aren't you supposed to be doing this? Put that high level in. Okay. What actions can I take to help my time management? I'm going to breeze through this. So stay so busy that you cannot see outside of your box. Just make it so busy that you're doing everything. Block out all of the noise by shutting down what you're not using in your time block. Focus on your goals daily. Tie your why to your daily actions. Treat your business like a real job. That's a key one right there. I can't tell you how many times that in the beginning, that was a challenge for me. I was my own boss. You know, I have freedom now. Yeah, the only thing I had freedom was freedom from income. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So I had to start asking myself, what would I do if I were the boss right now? Would I allow it? Sometimes that right there is huge. Limit the time you work and be efficient and effective in those work hours. Stop with another typo, 24/7, 365 outside of a marketing pitch. I'm your realtor 24/7, 365 is a great marketing pitch. Agents need to stop following that and being agents 24/7, 365. It's not normal to work more than a 40-hour work week, to work more than 5 days out of the week. You know, all that time that we put in, it's not necessary and it's not normal. It's being efficient and effective. Do the most productive thing every 30 minutes in each hour. Look at your time blocks and be as efficient and as effective as you can for 30 minutes. If you've got a 1 hour time block, push and be efficient and effective. And what you're going to see is you're going to get the majority of it done. You're going to get a good result and you're going to create momentum for the rest of that hour. You do that enough times, you're going to have momentum constantly in your schedule. Okay. Keep your schedule everywhere. Post it everywhere. I could tell you right now, I've got schedule here. I've got schedule up on my board here. I've got schedule on paper down here. I've got my Google Calendar. It's actually up right now on my computer. Schedule everywhere. Okay. Look for what doesn't work in your schedule and change it. Set daily goals. The more clear you are to what you want to accomplish, the more set your schedule will be. Master your morning. Your morning schedule should be bulletproof. Generally, most people have the most energy. They're the most momentum in the morning. You know, it should be a money morning. That should be when you get a lot of your money making, your income generating stuff. You should be getting that done and make that bulletproof. Roman, how much time do I have?
We good. Keep going.
Okay. I got about maybe, I could get it in 5 more minutes. Okay. Level 10 mindset. We are always doing affirmations. Why not keep them positive? So positive mindset. These are some things to keep in mind. Negative thinking is always more powerful than positive thinking. Okay. That's why it's easier to do. And that's what you see the majority of it. I mean, I hate to keep harping on this and everybody talks about it. Look at the news. Okay. I don't know who's in my age bracket. I mean, I'm 50 something, 3, 4, somewhere in there. I remember when the news when I was a kid was like rainbows and unicorns and everybody was happy and there was all kinds of stuff like that. Now I can't even think of, you know, when I used to kind of catch the news, if there was a positive story ever on there. Okay. That's because it's easier. It's easier to report. It's easier to draw people in. You know, that dirty laundry stuff always brings people in. So negative thinking is always more powerful than positive thinking. All right. Start over again daily. Start every day at 0, regardless of what your business shows. That's something that's helped me tremendously in my business, and something that was very difficult to start and create that habit. It was no matter how much I had, I always had to look at it was today's a new day. I've got 0. I'm starting fresh. What am I going to accomplish today? Okay. Managing the daily rejection. Show me some hands. Who doesn't like rejection? Anybody? Okay. The first thing that I would say is truly define what rejection is to you. Somebody saying no to working with me, I've never looked at as rejection. Okay. My personality style, I may look at it as insanity. You don't want to work with me, you know, meaning, but that's just confidence versus ego. But I looked at it as it's not really rejection. It's just my job for me to explain more as to why they should be working with me. And if they choose not to, I'm okay with that. You know, one of the things that I've said and I always say is I didn't need the money long before I didn't need the money. I don't run my day with needing business. I want business. I want to make money. Money is the catalyst for all the nice stuff that everybody wants or stuff to do. But do I need it? Do I need the business? No, I'm not going to treat it that way, because then if you've ever heard commission breath in your conversation or that term being used, then if I don't need the money, whether I need the money or not, and I treat it that way, I keep a positive mindset. I don't deal with rejection, and none of that comes over. Okay, I can have a clear conversation with anybody. Removing the drama and emotions from the transaction in the day. That sometimes is a big challenge. And the one thing I will say is buyer and seller and prospects and everybody bring in enough emotion into our business. It's our job to filter that drama and that emotion out. Don't buy into it. Don't feed into it. If you want a strong positive mindset, keep that out and keep it. Our business is black and white. If you haven't realized that, there's no grays in real estate. Everything is black and white. Agents sometimes turn things gray or try to, and that's when trouble comes in. Whether it's legal, ethical, you know, mindset trouble, business trouble, that's because you're not looking at it black and white. Look at it black and white. Bring that into the transaction. Help the person that's seeing emotion into that, and they will respect and appreciate that, and it will keep your mindset strong. Okay. Having a plan, process, and system for everything. Everything has to have a plan and a process and a system, especially a plan. Okay. Does anybody know what a goal without an action plan is called? Do you know what that is? It's called a dream. That's all it is. If you say, hey, I want to close 100 transactions and you don't put a plan, that's just a dream. You know, and that's where all the other stuff comes in, like luck. And if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, and all that other stuff that comes in. Easiest way is just put a plan to it, put an action plan to that goal. And it's not a dream anymore. It's a direction, it's a goal. Okay, the more that you do that, the more things make sense, the more you can keep a positive mindset. And honestly, I'll tie that into time management, the easier it will be to follow your schedule. Okay. I think this may be the last slide, I'm not sure. Creating a strong positive mindset. Follow your process 100%. 100% of your process, 100% of the time. Okay, I have a listing process. I coach it, I train it in prospecting boot camp. It's literally ingrained into my head. I set the appointment, I pre-qualify them, I send them a pre-listing package, I follow up the pre-listing package, and then I go to the appointment, and then I have my listing presentation. That process happens 100% of the time. I don't care if it's a family member, a past client, a stranger, that happens. So follow your processes 100% of the time, okay? Surround yourself with positive, like-minded people. That's crucial. Stay away from Debbie and Donnie Downer. Keep them off somewhere else. Stick with those people that are like-minded individuals, okay? Understand that failure is part of your business and part of your growth. Just like embarrassment, okay? And you're gonna be embarrassed at times. You're gonna fail at times when it comes to certain things. You're gonna make a decision that doesn't have the outcome you want. That's okay. Learn from it. I tell everybody, and some believe me, some don't. I don't have any regrets in my life. And the only reason I don't is because I've turned those decisions. I made some pretty shitty decisions. I'll be the first to admit that. But I take those decisions and I learn from them, so I don't regret them. They were huge learning things for me, huge learning lessons. By doing that, it creates zero regret. Okay, so understand that as long as you're learning.